Welcome to the story of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, like you've never heard it before.
This story isn't told to you by the one Dragonborn that masters all, but told to you through the eyes of many different characters.
From soldiers in the Civil War seeking peace and order,
to seeking freedom and to remove the weakness from her lands.
From those cursed by the night, seeking to be the vigil in the darkness.
To warriors seeking honor, glory, and companionship.
To a shapeshifter and worshipper of the Daedra who seeks to live a life as a warrior.
To a mage seeking power and the arcane knowledge of Aetherius.
To assassins seeking fear and bringing the cold touch of Sithis.
To thieves seeking wealth beyond measure.
We all hope you enjoy
this story
of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Chapter 52, The Last Night. Serana and I killed off the spiders, but after some time the rest of my companions followed. Some washed up dead, some did not survive the fall. I'm sorry, friends. Please forgive me, Talos, for all those that will die following me. I need to press on. Find out where we are and how to find this damn bow before anyone else dies down here. We traveled further into the cave until we came across a campsite with its dead. Seems everyone that comes down here never makes it out. There might not even be a way out of this hole in the ground. Still, we'll have to try and find a way out. Hopefully this bow while we're at it. Another hour went by killing spiders and trolls before we came across something different. It looked to be someone down here alive. Someone praying? A survivor of some kind who's been down here for ages? What is this place? I've seen nothing like it all in Skyrim. Looks kind of like a shrine.
Come forward. You have nothing to fear.
What's that? I can feel some kind of power from it.
Well, this man seems friendly. Alive and not trying to kill us, that's a good sign. Wait, I've seen that armor before on Enbora. And his skin, it's as white as hers. He's a snow elf, too. She isn't the last of her kind.
I am Knight Paladin Gelabor. Welcome to the great chantry of Auriel. Auriel, Halkosh, Akatosh, so many different names for the sovereign of the snow elves.
I knew it. He's a snow elf. How are we only just finding them after all this time? I wonder how many more snow elves are out there hiding away. Only if Enbora followed us. She'd know she's not the only one.
I prefer snow elf. The name Falmer usually holds a negative meaning to most travelers. Those twisted creatures you call Falmer, I call the betrayed. Of course, you're here for Auriel's bow. Why else would you be here? I can help you get it, but first, I must have your assistance. For the thousands of years I've served as the Chantry's sentinel, there hasn't been a single visitor here for any other reason. They request Auriel's bow, and I request their assistance. It's been repeated so many times, I can't imagine it any other way.
He's been alive for thousands of years. How many people have come before us over that time? Damn it. Everyone that has come here has died.
I need you to kill Archcurate Vertha, my brother. The kinship between us is gone. I don't understand what he's become, but he's no longer the brother I once knew. It was the betrayed. They did something to him. I just don't know why Auriel would allow this to happen. They swept into the Chantry without warning, and began killing everyone without pause. The Chantry was a place of peaceful worship. I led a small group of paladins, but we were no match for the betrayed's sheer numbers. They slaughtered everyone, and stormed the inner sanctum where I believe they corrupted Vertha. He's alive. I've seen him. But something's wrong. He never looks as though he's in pain or under duress. He just stands there and watches, as though waiting. Leaving the Way Shrines unguarded would be violating my sacred duty as a Knight Paladin of Auriel, and an assault on the betrayed guarding the inner sanctum would only end with my death. Yes, let me show you.
So, this is snow elf magic. Incredible.
Wow, Way Shrines.
This structure is
I
known
remember
as a
reading
way
stories on how the
They
ancients
were
used to
for
use them to
meditation
teleport
and for
around
transport
Tamriel.
when the Chantry was a place of enlightenment. Prelates of these shrines were charged with teaching the mantras of Auriel to our initiates.
What's that basin in the center signify?
Once the initiate completed his mantras, he'd dip a ceremonial ewer in the basin at the Way Shrine center and proceed to the next Way Shrine.
So, these initiates had to lug around a heavy pitcher of water. Marvelous. How long would they have to do that?
Well, once the initiate's enlightenment was complete, he'd bring the ewer to the Chantry's inner sanctum. Pouring the contents of the ewer into the sacred basin of the sanctum would allow him to enter for an audience with the Archcurate himself.
All that just to end up dumping it out? Makes no sense to me.
It's symbolic. I don't expect you to understand.
So, let's get this straight. We need to do all that nonsense to get into the temple, so we can kill your brother and claim Auriel's bow?
I know how it all sounds. But if there was another way, I'd have done it long ago. The only way to get to my brother is by following in the Initiate's footsteps and traveling from Way Shrine to Way Shrine, just as they did. The first lay at the end of Darkfall Passage, a cavern that represents the absence of enlightenment. There are 5 in total, spread far apart across the Chantry. Caves? Oh no. The Chantry encompasses far more than a few caves, as you'll soon discover. But before I send you on your way, you'll need the Initiate's ewer. Once you've located a Way Shrine, there'll be a spectral prelate tending to it. They will allow you to draw the waters from the shrine's basin, as if you've been enlightened. This may be the last time we're able to converse. If you have any questions before you leave, I suggest you ask them. Otherwise, all I can do now is grant you my hopes for a safe journey.
I spoke to Gelibor. He told me that we would face the betrayed further on. He also told me about what this place once was. A sort of religious sanctuary for his people to come and worship Auriel. That the Nords or Dwemer had no idea of its existence. He mentioned that there were 100 or so snow elves that were here when his people fled to the Dwemer, but eventually they were overrun by the Falmer. And his people were wiped out. He mentioned that his people accepted the Dwemer penalty for surrender, to make them blind. That's why they can't see. The Dwemer blinded them. It's not because they've lived in the dark for so long. The Dwemer fed them a poison that took their eyesight as payment for saving them. Without their eyes, they would become simple slaves, so the Dwemer could do whatever they wanted to them. It doesn't explain why they look like this. What else did the Dwemer do to turn them into these monsters? The snow elves I met look like high elves, but with ice blue eyes and snow white skin. These look wrong, like they were twisted by a darkness. And I've only met one that was born to the Falmer that didn't come out twisted. But she can't see or speak. But she doesn't look like these betrayed. If the betrayed were blinded and enslaved by the Dwemer, how did they find their way here? Maybe some of them remembered this place before they went through whatever happened to them. I guess I'll find out. After all, we all thought the Falmer were the way they were because they lived in the darkness for thousands of years, and it turned them into what they are. But no, we've discovered they were blinded by the Dwemer, and God knows what else they did to them after. We've been down here for ages cutting our way through the Falmer. I swear I heard a deer before, so there must be an end to this cave. We've come across so many bodies of those who came before us. We must be reaching the end. We'd have to have been down here for half the day by this point.
The Falmer wanted to keep there.
By Talos. When the door came down, a bloody saber cat came at me. It didn't look like any saber cat I've seen. It had weird markings that glowed on it. It wasn't the end to the cave, but an opening to another one. This place, it looked just like Blackreach. Wait. That's how the Falmer got here. They would have found their way here from Blackreach. That's the only thing that makes any sense how they ended up here. Maybe they remembered who they were before they were turned and came somewhere they remembered would have been safe for them. And saw others that weren't twisted, and in jealousy, they killed them because they were perfect? That there. Looks like the first way shrine we will need. That's our next spot. After being attacked by every saber cat here, we made it across the cave. This was the first way shrine we would need. They were guarded by snow elven ghosts. They couldn't help us. In their state, they didn't know of any danger. It was like they were blind to the world around them.
Fill your vessel with his enlightenment.
They were priests before they were cut down by all the Falmer. Now they guard their way shrines for eternity, acting like they had never died, or that anybody that comes here is one of theirs. These way shrines were amazing. They came out of the ground and stood tall. It seems the Dwemer weren't the only people who could make buildings appear and disappear. And to teleport between them. Minerva says the College of Winterhold doesn't even have that sort of magic. Another cave. Will I ever see the sun again? When we walked through the portal, it got a lot colder, and the air was better. I could hear the birds. We were very close to getting out of these caves and back into the open air. Ah, Light, how I have missed you. Thank the Nine, I don't have to walk through any more Falmer or spider-infested caves. It's refreshing breathing in cold air again, and seeing anything but cave walls. Wow, look at this place. It's beautiful. A part of Skyrim untouched by the Nords. It's been untouched since the Falmer killed everyone here. This place is a wonder, a piece of Skyrim that isn't really ours. It's still somewhat a piece of Skyrim that is still, or was, the Snow Elves. A piece of land we didn't take from them. It's like a forgotten vale, or at least it was before we arrived. I hope when we leave it stays the way it is, that we don't come in and disturb it any more than we have to now. There's the second way shrine. At least this ghost gets to be out in the sun, surrounded by the beauty of the vale. All we need is 3 more. I don't think we have the sunlight to do it. There was more to this place. It was massive. How has nobody seen this place? It looks to be the size of an entire hold. I still can't believe a place like this has remained hidden for all the time we have been here. There's always still something new to discover. We had found 3 way shrines. This is where I believed the easiest part of this would end. I had a feeling that the next 2 would be a challenge to reach or to get to, but knowing my luck, I bet it's both. We might have to find somewhere to camp before the darkness swallows the sky. It will get cold, and not everyone here is made to survive it. An ice lake. It's massive. The ice itself looks ancient. It should be safe to travel across. We better get moving. I have a bad feeling about this, though. Not the ice, but something else. Something looming over us, waiting for us. Like there's no stopping what's about to happen. I don't see any threats, but something is still nagging me that trouble is coming. Whatever lies in wait for us here better be ready to face down the army of the Dragonborn. We won't go down easy, and if we do, we'll take whatever it is with us. I think I'll just enjoy the peace and quiet while I can. What was that? Oh no! Dragons! There's 2 of them! Everyone get ready! Walking across the lake, we awoke 2 dragons that were under the ice. We were not ready for them, but we had to face them. We won the battle, but again at a heavy cost. In the last 2 days, I had lost so many of those that had followed me. I knew that this fight would cost many lives. I know that many that follow me will die, and those that survive today I will bury another day, or they'll bury me. But I hate this. I hate that I must trade their lives to stop the dragons. They weren't forced on this path like I was. They didn't have to join me to save the world, but they did, and the reward is death. And for those of them that are Nords, they then have to await Alduin, who will eat their very souls to fuel his sickening power. They are the true heroes here. They willingly took the fight against the dragons. They stood up when everyone else hid. The bards might write stories about me in the coming futures, but I wouldn't have been anything without the people here by my side. Without the people that gave their everything for everyone that couldn't or wouldn't fight. It didn't matter who they were, or even if they fought side by side with their enemies. What mattered was their hearts. For each one of them is a true hero of Tamriel. There are none more braver than these. Like Aela. She joined me with her only child. Her name was Hati Silverclaw. She was out traveling the world when the dragons came back. As soon as she found out, she came back home to defend her. A true daughter of Skyrim. I can't imagine to feel what Aela is going through right now. I will fight my hardest to make sure every last one of you that has fallen and will fall will not die in vain. That your sacrifice will be worth it. Your fight has ended. Now is your time for eternal rest, and we will carry on the fight for you until we meet again. You all might have died in the Forgotten Vale, but none of you will ever be forgotten. Even those that fell in Darkfall Cave, and those that died in Skyrim. I will make sure everyone will remember you. Rest now, Alvar Wildbeaks. You gave your life for something more than a war against brothers. You gave it for everyone. Rest now, Umog Bug Shurs. You died a true warrior's death, one in battle against a great beast. Rest now, Ronara. I didn't know much of you, but I knew you were brave and worthy. You have earned your rest. Rest now, Sylvani, a mage with the heart of a lion. You have earned your rest. Even though you are a Daedra and you are truly not dead, I thank you for giving us your body to fight a fight you didn't need to. I hope we see each other again before my time. And Venia, a most brave companion. Skyrim was not your birthplace, but it was still your home, and you gave it all for her. Thank you. We shall not forget you. And Hati, you gave up your life for your people and homeland. You are a true hero of Skyrim. It matters not what you were, but who you are. And you are a true guardian of Skyrim. And those we lost beforehand, Rolda Rebelheart, Durak, Tarii, and Fjordis, you shall not be forgotten. While everyone was setting up camp, I heard the chant of a word of power. The dragons must have left it here, one step closer to the World Eater. The word was La, which meant Magicka. One more word to go, but where to find it, I do not know. We set up camp for the night. The ice was ancient. There was nothing a little fire was going to do to it. We all needed rest and to recover after those dragons ambushed us, after we had lost so many. Everyone set up camp in their little groups. It was a shame that even now they couldn't mourn together as one, that they still kept their walls up. Maybe it's just too soon. At least they aren't killing each other. I should just be happy with that. You had Senturos and his group sitting with everyone that wasn't a Stormcloak. They seemed to be getting along the best. Imperials, Dawnguard, mercenaries, and Reachmen. Then you had the Daedra and their worshippers sitting away from everyone else. Then you had the Stormcloaks and the Companions. The Stormcloaks can kill dragons with the Imperials, but not sit down beside each other. I shouldn't expect much more than that. Then there was Ragnik watching over Aela. She would just sit out there in the cold looking up into the stars. She looked lost. Then there was just me and Serana. It felt like I had never left her, like we had been together our entire lives.
I read this book once. Oh, that was ages ago, really. And it was already falling apart. It had a very sweet love story between a woman and a vampire. Of course, when I was very young, I had a soft spot for romance. It was so silly, too. The vampire glowed in the sun. Whoever came up with that hogwash.
Whoever wrote that story has never seen a vampire out in the sunlight. Watching them catch fire is a better love story than whatever that is. Anyway, it's time to get some rest and continue this quest tomorrow.
Cecilia, I heard that you were Legion back in your time. Any of that true?
Yes, it's true. I was an Imperial legionary. I had just completed my training before all hell broke loose over Tamriel. I was going to be stationed in Skyrim of all places.
You were alive during the Oblivion Crisis. What was it like? How bad was it? You followed the Holy Crusader, didn't you?
Yes, I was alive during the Oblivion Crisis. It was terrifying. The gates opened, and Daedra poured into the world. It was like the world itself was bleeding, and the air was thick with the smell of sulfur and fear. It was a time of great loss and suffering. I followed the Holy Crusader. I saw a lot of things I'd rather forget. But I also saw a lot of bravery and sacrifice. It was a time that tested the limits of everyone's endurance, but it also showed the strength of the mortal spirit.
So what made you leave the Legion? Was it the vampire thing?
No, I stayed with the Legion after the crisis. Out of loyalty, I hoped they would continue their fight against the Daedra and their worshippers. But they didn't. They wanted us building roads and trying to settle down the other provinces that were upset with us because we all abandoned them to save Cyrodiil. When I realized that I should have followed the Crusader after the crisis, it was too late. I left the Legion and went to the Priory of the Nine. But when I got there, all the knights were gone. All that was left was some priest. They told me that the Crusader and his knights found another Oblivion Gate and went into it. And they never returned. The gate they went into ended up falling into the Niben Bay, never to be seen again. The Crusader's armor had just appeared one night back in the Priory. The Crusader was gone. Right after that, I found out about a new group starting up called the Vigil. They were hunters of the Daedra and those that worshipped them. So I joined them. That's what led me to becoming a vampire. Long story short, with the Vigil, I found the woman who burned down my city. She turned me into a vampire, and after that, I buried my blade into her back and buried a mountain on top of her. And I've been here in Skyrim ever since.
You've been through some serious stuff and came out on top. If you ever wish to serve the Legion again and bring peace back to these lands, I would be more than honored to have you. We could use more like you. Some of the old blood, you could say, would do the Legion some good.
Thanks for the offer. But I couldn't rejoin. They wouldn't accept something like me into the Legion, even if I wanted to join back up.
Are you kidding? Vampires serve within the Legion. There's a bunch of them, a special unit called the Imperial Blood Guard. They train for decades to control their lust so they can be considered full citizens of the Empire. They can live wherever they want forever, but when war comes, they are called for service. But from what I know, they are a small unit. Not many survive their training. If they can't control their bloodlust, they're put down. You, on the other hand, have that well under control, I figure. Anyway, if ever you wish to serve, the offer is there. You've protected Skyrim for centuries. Maybe joining up, you protect her once more by helping bring peace back to these lands.
How about that? We survived a dragon attack, and we're fighting beside the Imperials. I could have never imagined this when I joined up to fight the Empire.
I fought for the Empire, and I fought against them, and now I fight alongside them. What's next, I wonder? The Imperials look at me with disgust in their eyes. They've come to calling me the traitor.
They're the traitors. They betrayed Skyrim and her people to the damn elves, and turned their back on the very god that created the empire they serve under. Don't mind them. Hopefully the dragons take more of them than they do us.
Don't be so eager to kill them. What you don't understand is that the Imperials aren't our enemies, they're our brothers. We wage war against them, while our real enemies gather their strength and wait for both of us to be too weak to fight back. Our real enemy is the Aldmeri Dominion, and the dragons. And again, against another common enemy, we are united together.
I guess the only real traitor here is you. You turned your back on the rebellion while the rest of us have to bleed so Skyrim can be free. You don't even have a say in any of this.
I've seen things you couldn't even know about, child. When I was killing the Imperials, I did it face to face. I had to watch them die. While you kill them from a distance like a coward, you have no concept of what it feels like to have one begging you not to kill them, while they weep for their mothers or fathers, while the light in their eyes goes out. When you have watched someone die from your blade, then you can talk to me like that.
Enough of this, all of you. We are all on the same team, no matter if it's blue, red, or grey. Our enemy doesn't care about what color we wear or what king or queen we serve. They don't care. They seek to destroy us or enslave us. And together, the Stormcloaks and Imperials will fight the dragons. Our war against the Imperials doesn't matter while the dragons soar across the skies. We need them, and they need us. So we will, in good faith, treat them with respect. Until the dragons are gone, and our war begins again with the Imperials. But until then, you will fight with them. Speaking of which, I had some wrongs I had to right with one of them. They were my enemy, but one of them had brought my sister back from the dead to me. And as a reward, I tried to kill them. I need to apologize. No true enemy would have ever done that for me. I need to speak to Senturos alone. Somewhere out of the eye of everyone, so I can make things right between us. Here should do fine. This looks like a nice spot to just talk to him. Hopefully he has room to forgive me.
I wonder what Sigund wants. Is she getting me out of the eye of everyone to kill me? No, that would be stupid, even for a Nord. She looks a little nervous. When she's trying to kill me, she's eyeing me down and has that determined look on her face. Time to find out what this is all about.
Thank you for coming. I know it would seem a little dangerous on how we ended things the last time we were close. I want to apologize for the way I treated you. I had no right to attack you. You didn't do anything wrong to my sister. After all, you're the one that spared her. You didn't have to do me anything. You owed me nothing. We are enemies after all, though you went out of your way to do something nice for me. I'm deeply sorry about trying to kill you. I hope you can forgive me.
It wouldn't be the first time, after all. Remember you tried to kill me back in Whiterun when you dressed up as an Imperial.
Wait, you remember that was me?
Of course. It's a face I could never forget. I had a strange feeling walking up to you, and when I saw you, I thought you were beautiful. You looked as you do now, just with a red stripe and Imperial officer armor. Something was screaming at the back of my head to head to Breezehome, because I was going to go back to Skystone that day. Turns out that reason was you waiting to kill me.
Ah, yes. Well, I guess I'm sorry about that one too. Something was keeping us apart. Maybe it was the gods, since they knew of the part we could come to play together.
Look, all is forgiven. I understand the sort of conflicting feelings you were going through. All is good. I know that you would give your life in a heartbeat to save Ragni if needed, like I would. So all is forgiven.
Thank you. For an Imperial, you're not so bad. I'm starting to like having you at my back.
Out of nowhere, Sigund hugged me. It was strange, but it felt nice. It kind of felt like a familiar warmth. I wouldn't have anybody else I trust more with the Dragonborn's life than her.
The sun was here, and it was time to find the remaining way shrines. We had lost so many already. We couldn't stop now. We had to finish this, for all of Skyrim, Tamriel, and those I lost getting here. This place is so beautiful. A piece of Skyrim that hasn't been touched in thousands of years. In another 1,000 years, this place will look the same as it does today, if we don't ruin it beforehand. Wait, that's another way shrine. It was right beside us all night. Well, that only leaves one more.
You've arrived at the Way Shrine of Resolution.
There's something strange about these ghosts.
The
They have no idea that they are dead or that I'm not a snow elf. They're kind of like the dwarven machines. It's like they don't have a soul, but I'm talking to one. Or a copy of some sorts. They have to remain here forever, standing guard over the ice, waiting for people to come. It's kind of a cruel eternity. Just one more left, and it's through this valley or canyon. No doubt there will be more of the Falmer to deal with, but it's nothing worse we haven't dealt with. Shouldn't be too challenging. Wait, these are Nord rock formations. Nords have been here before? Those bones might have been the ones that made them. Looks like only death is ahead of us. I see smoke down there. A campfire. Has to be the Falmer. Kind of strange seeing them out in the daylight. Everywhere I've seen the Falmer, it's in a Dwemer ruin or cave connecting to one. We had to clear the valley to move through it. We couldn't spare any Falmer in our way. Something about this made me feel guilty. Here they are in a part of Skyrim that is still snow elven. Maybe some of them used to be here before they became what they are. Gelebor is around 4,000 years old, so maybe the ancient elves lived much longer than the ones now. But Minerva says it could be Oriel keeping him alive or slowing his aging down. Not even she knows how long the ancient elven races lived for. She mentions there are life-altering magics that can keep someone alive past their time. Daedric, Aedric rituals and all that. Even rings or soul gems or that stuff. But I didn't really understand everything she was saying. But the Falmer are a blight across Skyrim. And from what I've seen here, I know why. They are suffering from what the Dwemer did to them. They're in a place that isn't their home. But here they hurt nobody. Here, this place is their home, or what remains of their home. And I have to cut every last one of them down in my way. It feels as if I'm the one who truly doesn't belong. While on the ice, we lost one of Sigund's soldiers who slipped off and fell to her death. Another that will remain here forever. We can't go back. Those that fall here will remain here forever. Maybe one day when all this is over, we can send people to retrieve their bodies and lay them to rest back home. But first, we need to clear out the Falmer. If they are controlling Gelebor's brother, we need to clear out their numbers. Then maybe we can break his brother from this spell, and won't have to kill him. I don't want to kill the last of their race. We cleaned up the valley and finally saw the ghost of one of these snow elves beside the Way Shrine. This was the last one we needed. We had lost so many to get here. Thank the Nine, it's almost over.
Are you prepared to honor the
Why do the snow elves look so much like the High Elves? Minerva claims it's because of the old blood. She said her people came from the Aldmer, the elven race before the Altmer, and the snow elves were like the Aldmer but with snow-white skin. They are around the same height. There could still be snow elves out there pretending to be high elves, pretending to have fair skin. I really hope that Enbora and these brothers aren't the last of their kind. Now to the inner sanctum. There aren't many snow elven buildings left in Skyrim. The only ones that remain are those the Nords used after they had killed all the snow elves in them. This place is amazing, a piece of history untouched by the wrath of the Nords. Something untouched by us. Not just a piece of the snow elves we didn't destroy, but a place of worship. This was where they came to pray to Oriel, or what became Akatosh when men made their pantheon. We're the first people ever to stand foot on these grounds in thousands of years. I'm probably the first Nord to ever make it here. Look at that! This would have been a sight to behold back in Gelebor's time. This place would have been filled with snow elves seeking some sort of penance or enlightenment. But now it's empty, and none have walked these grounds in centuries or even millennia, apart from us. But we haven't come here for worship. We've come here for a weapon to kill. A weapon to kill a powerful vampire who seeks to take out the sun. We need it so we can take him out. And in doing so, we save all of Tamriel from vampires. That looks to be where I pour the water. Let's see what happens. It's flowing into that basin down there. When it fills, that must unlock this inner sanctum. Okay, that seems to be doing something. It worked. Thank the Nine, all those lives weren't for waste. Now let's deal with this Archcurate Verther. When we entered the inner sanctum, it was quiet with no signs of life. There were only frozen Falmer and their bugs scattered all over the place. Maybe these were the Falmer that attacked the sanctum, but something happened that froze everything in here solid. Some sort of defense spell, maybe. By the Nine! I went to take the weapon from the frozen Falmer and it came to life, but it wasn't alive. Every last one of these blocks of ice could attack us. They're like gargoyles. We won't know which ones are alive. We can't afford to touch another because all of them come back to life. I've lost too many people already. I can't have every one of these dead Falmer coming back to attack us in here. We need to find this brother and see if we can help him, or if not, kill him. The deeper we go into this ruin, the more it starts to look torn apart. I hope we can find this brother. The last thing we need is the passage to get there collapsing in. Wait, that looks like a snow elf. That's the brother. Good, now let's see what's going on here. Look at this place. Looks like this Verther is the one who froze everything. This place looks like it was hit by a massive ice storm. And all the frozen Falmer here. We'll have to be careful if he did this. Now let's go and see if he talks. I'd rather not fight. He's the last of his kind, and I've lost too many already.
Did you really come here expecting to claim Ariel's bow?
How did he know?
You've done exactly as I predicted, and brought your fetching companion to me.
Wait, he wanted Serana?
Wait, is he talking about me?
Which, I'm sorry to say, means your usefulness is at an end.
Apparently, he wanted Serana and didn't wish to talk. He then sicked his frozen pets onto us. Looks like he has chosen to die. Looks to be like he has chosen death. Did those frozen Falmer have blood over their mouth and have fangs?
An impressive display, but a wasted effort. You delay nothing but your own death.
Watch out! He's pulling down the...
By the Nine! He's going to crush us all! Everyone brace yourselves!
Gone on long enough.
Roll?
Before you were born. Centuries of preparation.
This isn't going to be good. He used some sort of power that blew everyone away and tore the building apart.
Come on.
I felt a little dazed, but I could still fight. We had to end him here and now.
On the balcony. Come on.
Enough, Berther. Give us the bow.
How dare you? I was the arch-curate of Ariel, girl. I had the ears of a god.
Until the betrayed corrupted you. Yes, we've heard this sad story.
Gelabor and his kind are easily manipulated fools. Look into my eyes, Serana. You tell me what I am.
You're a vampire.
He's a vampire.
But
those
Ariel
Falmer were
should
vampires
protect
too. He's the one that turned them. He corrupted them.
By one of my own initiates.
His eyes are red and his
Ariel
skin
turned
bluish.
his back on me.
Be hard to tell a snow elven vampire with how pale they already
I'd have
are.
my revenge,
We've got no choice now but to kill
matter
him.
what the cost.
You want to take revenge? On a god?
Ariel himself may have been beyond my reach, but his influence on our world wasn't. All I needed was the blood of a vampire and his own weapon, Ariel's bow.
The blood of a vampire. Ariel's bow. It was you? You created that prophecy?
A prophecy that lacked a single...
He's the one that has caused all of this trouble. He's the reason Harkon is oblivion, bent on blackening the sun. He's the reason for all this suffering. We're about to wipe out one more monster.
You were waiting all this time for someone with my blood to come along. Well, too bad for you. I intend on keeping it. Let's see if your blood has any power to it.
Hold on.
Farewell.
He was put down, one less evil Nightwalker to bring terror to Tamriel, even if he was one of the last of his kind. Now all we need is to get Oriel's bow. Wow, that's it. That's Oriel's bow. The bow of the Divines. It's beautiful.
It's not as shiny as I was expecting. Still, it's beautiful. I think we both know. It's time to face my father. If we don't, he'll keep chasing us for the rest of our lives. I've been thinking about this for a long time. It's not easy, but I don't think we have much of a choice. No, this has to end here and now. If we head back to the castle and kick in the front door, we're going to be knee-deep in his friends. Let's head back to Isron, and we'll let him see what we've got first. I'm betting he'll lend us a sword or two.
The bow was
We had found Oriel's bow. I had in my hands the very weapon of the Divines. This weapon was said to have killed Lorcan, who the scholars say was the Aedra behind the creation of Nirn. That Lorcan, or as we Nords call him Shor, was killed by Oriel, or Akatosh, by this very bow. If this weapon can kill a god, Harkon stands no chance at all. With the help of Gelabor, I now have sun-hallowed arrows that will rain down terror upon Harkon and those that follow him. He said these arrows will be lethal to the touch against vampires, but if I aim the arrows at the sun will shoot down bolts of fire all around us, aiding me further against the undead. Now we need to rest for the night and head off to Fort Dawnguard in the morning. And tell Isron of our success, then march on Castle Volkihar.
What is it, my love? I thought I was strong enough to do this, but now I'm just not sure anymore. I know I may seem so carefree, joking with you all the time, but in the end, I guess I'm just trying to run away from all these feelings.
but I just feel so overwhelmed. I know I have to get it together for the sake of Tamriel, but you don't know how hard it's been. Sometimes this is all just too much to bear. Just leave me alone for now. Please? I need to do this on my own. If I need anything, though, I'll let you know. Let's go. We have a world to save, for mortals and vampires alike.
I can understand somewhat. Our fathers were very different people. But mine, like hers, became cold. Her father is evil, but it's still her dad. Mine became cold to the world when he buried my mother and sister. He went from a loving dad to a hard man, pushing me to be the best I could be. Serana's father become even more cold with this prophecy. But now she has to face him down and kill him. Regardless of how evil he is, no child wants to kill one of their own parents. But for the sake of everyone, both mortals and vampires alike, we need to end Harkon and his plans.
Just leave me alone for now. I'll be fine.
Serana will pull through. She's been through the impossible already. I see her as a young, beautiful woman, but she's probably lived more than 1,000 years worth of a life. I know when the time comes, she will do what is right and stand by my side to stop her father. But now we need to get back to Isran and let them know of the good news. Now is the time to finish what I started all that time ago. For a monster who shows no mercy, the worst mistake Harkon ever made was showing mercy to me and letting me leave his castle. Next time we meet, it will be his last. We finally arrived back at Fort Dawnguard late in the afternoon. We need to tell Isran so we could plan an attack on Harkon, and we needed to get some much-deserved rest before we march off to war against the vampires on the other side of Skyrim.
The bow. You have Auriel's bow. I've heard it described in tales, but I could never have imagined its beauty. Indeed, the day hasn't been won while Harkon still walks Tamriel. But what of Serana? Can she be trusted to lift a blade against her own kind, her own family? I suppose that's as much as I can hope for. Let me address the Dawnguard and then we'll be off. The men deserve to know that we finally gained the upper hand.
For too long, we've allowed these vampires to poison the night and kill our people. Now, we finally have the means to strike back. We now have Auriel's bow. The gods themselves have favored us, and we must answer with action. The time has come to finally put an end to Harkon and his unholy prophecy. We will march on their lair and destroy those wretched abominations so they can no longer corrupt our world. This is our fight, and this is our fate. This is the time of the Dawnguard! Kill the abominations! This is it!
Between the eyes for me!
Let no one lack in one piece.
It's time we take the fight to their door. Gather your things and rest well, my friend. We meet outside Castle Volkihar.
The time to end Harkon was soon. We just needed to rest before we set out. We will leave a few hours before sunrise so we get to Volkihar at midday, when the vampires are at their weakest. With the rise of the sun shall the darkness fall across Skyrim. This shall be their last night. We got a few hours of shut-eye, but we had to move out while the darkness still covered Skyrim. We needed to arrive at Volkihar Castle during midday when the vampires are at their weakest. By the time we got to the west, the sun was up and shining all over Skyrim. Any vampire with a survival bone in their body would be taking shelter in the darkness, including the Volkihar vampires, who think they are safe in their castle. But it's about to become their tomb forever. I've waited for this moment my entire life, to make them bleed for all the pain they've caused, to free the night of their corruption. I will avenge my family and everyone else that has suffered, and for all of those that fell fighting these monsters. This will be their last day. When the night falls across Skyrim once more, it will be free of the evil that follows it. It's time to bring the light to the darkness. The last time I was here, I was a sheep amongst the lions. But now the lions have to deal with the dragon. He should have never spared my life. His small act of mercy will be his end. It's time to do this. It's time to end these monsters once and for all. They've fortified their castle. It won't help them. It's midday, right on time. Time to turn these monsters to ash.
We're done with this when none of them are left standing. Let's go.
I should have expected the gargoyles. They are no match for Oriel's bow. The gods are with us. These night lurkers stand no chance. Their thralls had no idea of the danger they were in, but soon we'll be able to free them, if we don't kill them by mistake. These vampires had no chance against the forces of a united Skyrim. Their reign of terror was just about over. Once vampires sat in these halls preying on the weak, now these halls are free of their stink. No longer will these halls house evil. Now all that is left is Harkon. It's time to end him once and for all and free the Knights of Skyrim from him forever. I can't believe I'm finally here. All this time, all this sacrifice. I will do what needs to be done. For all of Skyrim and those that fell getting us here. The skeever is in the lion's clothing. It's all over now, Harkon. There is no escape but eternal death.
You know why we're here.
Of course I do. You disappoint me, Serana. You've taken everything I provided for you and thrown it all away for this pathetic being.
Provided for me? Are you insane? You've destroyed our family. You've killed other vampires. All over some prophecy we barely understand. No more. I'm done with you. You will not touch her.
So, I see this dragon has fangs. Your voice drips with the venom of your mother's influence. How alike you've become.
No. Because unlike her, I'm not afraid of you. Not anymore.
And you. It appears I have you to thank for turning my daughter against me. I knew it was only a matter of time before she'd return with hatred in her heart. A small price to pay for the betterment of our kind. Yes, always the noble vampire hunter. And what happens when you've slain me? Is Valerica next? Is Serana? Then my daughter is truly lost. She died the moment she accepted a mortal into her life. Yes, quite. I'm growing weary of speaking to you and my traitorous daughter. I'll give you a single chance to turn over the bow to me. There will not be a second.
Very well then, you leave me no choice.
Die now, monster. Skyrim will be free of you once and for all.
It ends here.
That it does. You won't be walking out of here ever again, Harkon. The coward. For all your power, you need to hide behind a ward. That won't help you at all. Your magic is nothing compared to the might of Oriel's bow. You can run, but you can no longer hide. The light has come, and the darkness has nowhere to hide. My voice will bring fire, my blade will bring Marillia's light, and my arrows will bring the sun down on you. You stand no chance, Harkon. You are no longer a lion.
This isn't your day.
Harkon would run and hide, hiding behind his ward while he sends his minions after us. None of them would stop what was going to happen. He was only buying time, and he had had more than enough of it. And he chose all the wrong choices with the time he had. The only good thing he could do for Skyrim with what little time he had was die. And I'll damn sure make sure he does.
You can't hide from us.
I'll rend the
Well, you asked for it.
No more running, no more hiding. I just need one shot with Oriel's bow. He stands no chance against a weapon of the gods.
Not very.
It's over. He's dead. And the prophecy dies with him. I suppose this is difficult for you.
I think my father really died a long time ago. This was just the end of something else. I did what needed to be done. Nothing more.
I think perhaps. I think you did more than that. You have my thanks. So, the beast is destroyed. Not only that, but Ariel's bow is in safe hands. The Dawnguard will now be dedicated to safeguarding it.
Now that's done. I'm not sure. I'll probably stay with the Dawnguard for as long as they'll let me. They're respectable fighters, and I think they see the benefits of having a vampire on their side now. Of course, if you've got any more adventures planned. That's what I wanted to hear.
Try and stay warm out there. Or in my case, stay shaded.
Harkon was finally killed. He would never again darken Skyrim's doorstep. Everything we had fought for had finally paid off. All the pain, all the sacrifice had been worth it. Everyone who had died getting here could now rest easy, knowing they had saved Tamriel from a terrible fate. I had finished what I had started with the Dawnguard. I had protected Skyrim from the vampires. But now I turn my attention to a bigger and darker evil. Alduin. I'm the only one that can destroy him. And I owe it to everyone in Tamriel to try. And I owe it to everyone that has died trying. Serana will join me in this fight against Alduin. She is the bravest of us all. She turned against her own father to save Skyrim from his terror. There is nobody I would have by my side than her. I know she'll do anything to protect Skyrim, or kill anything trying to destroy me. It was now time to turn these monsters to ash. Vampires are living death. If you leave their bodies where you killed them, one day they could awake. So it's best that we always turn them to ash. That way there's no chance of them ever coming back to darken Skyrim. Now that these monsters are gone, Skyrim can now breathe a little easier that their knights will be safer from the Volkihar clan. Now all I have to worry about is the dragons and gathering power to face down Alduin. I lost so many in this fight against the vampires, and most of them were to the dragons. I fear I'll lose many more friends along the way. We lost Vigdyn Ravenblade. She was an old Nord who joined her granddaughters in the fight to free Skyrim. She lost them both to the war, but now she can be with them in Sovngarde as a true Nord hero. Fulvara joined me on the hunt for Oriel's bow. Skyrim wasn't even her home, but she gave her life for Skyrim. A truly brave dark elf. I didn't know much of her, but I knew enough to know that Tamriel has lost one of its greatest. Skyrim felt a lot lighter. It felt free in a sort of way. The dragons were still here, but somehow Skyrim felt safer. It feels good to wipe out a great evil from Skyrim. Just one more to go, but it won't be anywhere near as easy as Harkon was. I will need a lot of training before I'm ready to face down Alduin again, and that will take some serious time. Time Skyrim might not have. Senturos went to Solitude to visit his daughter, and Sigund has taken everyone else back to her fort. I might spend the night here with Serana.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, again, for all you've done for me and the world. I know we haven't known each other for too long, but now you basically are family, where my father was not. What I said to my mother back in the Soul Cairn, it was all true. You, a stranger, have done more for me since we met than either of my parents in more than 1,000 years. You are my savior, my sole reason to keep living. I love you.
I don't really know how to feel about this. Serana has been the light of my life ever since she saved me from becoming a monster. Every day I've thought of her, and now being with her, I can't stand the idea of losing her again.
Wow. By the 9, I never thought I would weep after my father was gone. And don't you dare bring this up again. Oh, you little. It's on. You'd better not be surprised if your next tomato soup tastes like Hagraven toes. Hagraven toes. Really though, I have made peace with what's happened to my family. I've had a long time to deal with it, didn't I? I'm ready to move on. Here's a new chapter for me to start, at least. A chapter with you. Listen, I don't want to push you into something you don't really want. But I think, for the first time in... gods, how many years? I don't even know. I feel like it might work. Us. Together. I think we could... try, you know? Maybe I wouldn't make such a bad wife, after all. Well now, are you ready for our first adventure? I know you probably have other stuff you'd like to do. But don't you think it would be nice if we just had some alone time for a while? Let's go somewhere else. Someplace beautiful. Your choice. Okay, where to? I like that. Just make sure no one would be able to see us, alright?
Serana wanted some alone time away from any eyes. Somewhere beautiful. All night I thought about it. And well, I thought about the golden plains of Whiterun. Somewhere by some water. It's on the way towards Sigund's military base, where we'll be holding up in for a while. This place looks nice. Somewhere quiet. Out of the road of any eyes. Oh no. For the love of the Nine. Not a dragon. Not now. Thank the gods. That was a close one. That might have just been my luck done. I found a beautiful little spot down by the water. The place looked gorgeous, and it had some trees to shade Serana from the sun. This spot is perfect. Yes, this will do. It's safe, and nobody will find us down here. We can just be ourselves again. I'll never miss a chance to be with her alone.
Not bad, not bad. You do know your way around Skyrim. I'll give you that. Now that we're truly free, at least for now, I think we deserve a little celebration. I've brought some drinks for our little party. I wasn't sure what you'd like to drink, so here are some choices. First, we have the Cliff Racer. Firebrand wine, Cyrodiilic brandy, Flynn, and Sujamma. A drink for the daring. Next up, we have some Dragon's Breath mead. A drink worthy of someone as fiery as you are. And then there's also milk. Just plain milk. Nice. It suits you. Well, cheers. We did it. You know, I almost can't believe I get to just hang out with you like that. Drink, toast, joke around. Just be happy. I don't want to give this up, ever. Being happy, being free, us. I want it to last. Forever. It's just a little something to tie the knot. I know I've said earlier that this kind of thing wasn't really for me. And rightfully so, since I've experienced trauma with a particular temple ceremony. But I love you, and I want to be with you. For eternity. For as long as you'll have me. For as long as we have left. Together. And I want to commit to it. To us. I just wouldn't like it to be ritualistic. I think that this, us, here, together, this is all the ceremony we really need. So, well, here goes. Would you like to marry me?
I will. There is nobody else I love more. And life is short. I might not make it out of this alive after all.
Come here. Now and forever.
I had never been with a woman before. Serana took great care with me. I was nervous but excited to be with her, to feel her skin touching mine, to feel her hands slide down my body, to feel her lips kiss my neck. I could feel every sensation with her. She wanted to go slow, and I wanted her not to stop. She was mine and I was hers. In this moment, I felt like life couldn't get any better. She, did things with her fingers. It was something new, but it felt amazing. I'm definitely not the first woman she has been with. She has lived for over 1,000 years after all. This was all so new and breathtaking. Sharing this moment with her will be something I'll never forget.
For as long as I'd live, vampire or not, I wouldn't have any regrets. I love you.
I felt different after that. Like I knew I was with the right person. That there is no other out there for me in Tamriel. That I had found my person, my wife, my life. That we are in this forever, until death takes us. And with how life is going, that could be any day. so it's best to have someone close to hold for the short moments we have. I'm the luckiest woman in all of Tamriel. Now it's time to go and kill us some dragons.
Welcome to Chapter 52's background sort of stuff. This is just, I'm going to try and keep this shit short because this chapter went for too long, and well, an hour and a bit. I don't want, this to look like a fucking 2-hour episode. So, welcome. So, we're going to cover a few things. I did want to put this into 3 chapters, but I couldn't really figure out where to cut it in half to make it make any sense of it, making it a part 2, and I don't want to be doing part 2. It's just a chapter, boom, there you go. So this chapter, it's a bit unique, and look, there's a reason why there's a lot of followers. There's a reason why there's so many NPCs follow the Dragonborn in this story, because quite frankly, dragons in my game are brutal. They are ruthless, and they are gods, as they're meant to be. The kind of, I want to play Skyrim as it's granted, as in the Dragonborn is meant to be like a demigod, but dragons are meant to be gods. So there's quite a few that will follow them, and she forces them to land, and we just surround them and just hack the shit out of them. As you see, there was a lot there. Now, there's a reason I brought a lot there, and it's quite simply for, well, this. This part of the chapter was actually pretty special because I was talking about the dragons when she said looming, something's waiting for us, something's looming overhead, and she was actually looking up at Vertha, which makes a lot of sense because he's actually waiting and looming overhead, and I thought, shit, I'm going to keep that there. That makes a lot more sense. So, 2 different meanings, but the reason I brought all these followers was because of this moment. This is obviously 2 dragons in the fight in my sort of Skyrim setting, so shit was going to be vicious, and it was. Now this scene made me quite angry because I had to film it like 15 times, because I don't think Dragon's AI was meant to really comprehend having this many NPCs, because they kept, instead of jumping back into the lake and piercing out, they kept landing under the lake where the water was, and they were acting like retards, and I was losing my shit. I was about to throw hands at my monitor, but we eventually got something done where they actually didn't fully act like speds and had a bit of fun, but they still acted like speds quite a bit. It really annoyed the shit out of me, but this is going to be one of those fights where it was like 2 dragons at once, so I brought a lot of followers with me, and again, they're all meant to die. Well, they're not all meant to die, but they all can die. So it's just random. Like if I ever have to do like a chapter, like a version 2 of this scene, I do the scene again, it'll be maybe the same people will die in it, but a bunch of different other people will die in it. It's just nothing's ever the same. And that's what I love about this. It's always different. So this is a pretty brutal one, when we lost quite a few followers, and even one of my favourite background characters, and that was Ayala's daughter. Let's go check that out real quick. So, as you can see, there's a lot of dudes here. Now, Yala's daughter, I made her like a year or so ago and had her cooking in the background, because in my game, I make Yala look her actual age. She's got an older voice, the female commander voice, and she's part of the circle, and, she's with Sigund, who's in his 50s. So I think, immersively, and in base game, she's actually meant to be 50 or so it make her look that age. And so I gave her a daughter, a daughter that was pure-born, like Freya is, because she was born when Ayala was a member of the Circle, a werewolf. And there's all different kinds of people here. The whole idea is just to say goodbye to these NPCs that died. Quite a few of them were Legion. Veronica, I enjoyed Veronica. She was a bit of a, I always used to catch her walking around Whiterun. That Dark Elf right there, Tonraq right there, he met her. He's in one of his chapters, he went into a cave, he had to kill some mage or some like orc spell sword, and he found that Dunmer basically trapped, or basically put there by her people in the spider web to be eaten by the spiders, and he freed her, and then she basically, just like Ilia, I think it is, from the chick from Darklight Tower, she went to the College of Winterhold to study there, because being a spell sword ended up in a bad way. Maybe she can study magic elsewhere without it being bad and it being an institution where she'll be safe to study. So she went and joined the College of Winterhold because the Tonraq saved her, and she went under the command, well, under the teachings of Minerva. So these characters kind of they play. Their stories sort of drift apart and cross over each other and stuff like that. And this guy, I purposely killed him. I physically killed him. I'm probably breaking my rules by saying that, but he had a bow in his hand, but instead of using his bow, he kept swinging punches with the bow in his hand, and I lost it, so I just put him down. I got, no man, if an AI is a retarded, they're going into the lake. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna murder him. This is the chick right here. You kind of meet her in a cave where she's been basically betrayed by her people, and Tonraq basically saved her, and she became a College of Winterhold mage. This is a Daedra, and why not, you know? She's not properly dead, but again, we can still thank her for their service and all that sort of stuff. But the main one is Hattie. You know, she was a pretty cool character. I gave her some unique gear, I gave her some pretty cool tattoos. She was out adventuring around Tamriel when the shit hit the fan with the dragons, and she returned home to help her people, to then die in Skyrim, or a certain part of the Skyrim, an unknown part of Skyrim. It's not even really Skyrim, is it? Fighting the dragons. So, yeah, it's kind of a sad story, but again, this could kind of happen to many of them across this, you know, so many of these people could die in the next run, or even the future. Now, I've always, these big groups want to like set up encampments at certain ruins and stuff like this, where they all talk and sit down to each other and relax, and at this current time, the very start of the alliances, that the Imperials will kind of sit away from the Stormcloaks. It's kind of the way it should be at the very start. But I kind of wanted to have a link here between Senturos and Cecilia, because she was once legionary in her time, and he wants to kind of recruit her when the job's all done, if they both live through it. And she talks about her past, basically the time she served in, which has got to be pretty bloody cool, because I want to set her up after the Dragon Wars to join the Empire, but sort of a commander of this, these Night Raiders, these vampire legionaries. And there's a good reason to why for that, but I don't want to get into the spoilers of it. But she will basically become their commander after the Great War. After the Dragon Wars for Senturos, and she'll wear this cool armor of hers, old armor of hers, with this uniquely textured new Legion armor I've been messing around, which is like a black armor but with like red stripes sort of material to kind of make them look unique, to blend them into the night, because they're meant to be like Imperial vampires that, you know, will attack during the night and stuff like this. Blah blah blah. But again, I want to have a big conversation throughout these stories, including with the Stormcloaks. So we've got Greycloak, who's, you know, who left both the Empire during the Stormcloaks, then left the bloody Stormcloaks and went out on his own. And not a big fan of that. They have a little argument there, and he has to kind of put a young Nord in her place, you know, referring to her that she's a coward that she kills from range. And I really liked that. I was like, man, at the end of the day, if you're killing people from range, you can't see their face. You haven't got the compact. You haven't got the consequence of seeing it, you know. As a sniper, you just watch a body drop and you think, fuck, he's dead. But when you get close to their face and you see who it is, you kind of feel that mortal terror that you took someone's child, that you took a life. And snipers or archers, I guess, don't really have that. They don't have to look them in the eyes. But again, I just want that kind of conversation feeling, especially with Sigund, how she finally opens up to have a conversation with Senturos a bit later on. And it's kind of this one here, and they've kind of both dropped their guards. You know, they kind of, the last 2 or 3 times they've tried to get close to each other, and something happens. You know, so basically, once Senturos brought back Brianna, her sister, from the dead, she had a meltdown of emotions and tried to kill Senturos, just in the cooked sort of emotional state she was. And she's now apologising for that, because she realised that she was in the wrong. And they're kind of now fully letting their guards down. They've been fighting with each other for over a month, so they've created a sort of battle bond, where they're starting to dodge seeing their armor as a wall, you know, Imperial Stormcloak. They're no longer really seeing that. They're starting to blend the line between, you know, enemy to Conrad, to someone that fights in the same battlefield, fights for the same reasons you do. It's a battle bond, and they're getting close. Which is, you know, I've been building up this for fucking ages, but yeah, it's good to finally see him start to mold, you know, from enemies to friends, and then trusted close friends, and to see where it goes much later on. I thought it'd be probably a perfect place to kind of have this apology, especially Sigund hugging Senturos, which is like, he's an Imperial and an Imperial soldier. It's like, that's whack as fuck, man. Like, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, she would have probably smacked you in the jaw for even mentioning that would happen. Now, I had to go and make Bertha actually look like a vampire, because snow elves and vampires have a very similar skin tone, so you can kind of see a bit of light grey blue there, compared to his brother. I gave him the red eyes, but to physically make him look like an actual vampire. Yeah, because as a snow elf and a vampire, you're going to be a bit confused until they're real close up range and it's already over, to know exactly what they are, because, again, like snow white skin, snow pale blue dead skin, they're very similar, but I thought that'd be something cool to add to actually make him look like a proper vampire. But again, I didn't really want a big fight scene for that. I mean, the big effort for this entire Forgotten Vale was actually getting here. He was the easy mark. He was the reward kill, pretty much, after all the time and all the effort and all the death getting here. He wasn't meant to be, an absolute badass boss. So, gave him the death note. Now, we get Ariel's bow, and we have a conversation here with Serana, the realization that her father, that she actually has to kill her father, and the moment is near. The moment is pretty much moments away. There's no longer is it the idea we've got to find these items, these artifacts, and kill him. Like, the quest is now to kill him, and again, this is her father. It doesn't really matter how evil your father is. There's going to be moments where you grew up as a kid, and there were good, loving moments before your father changed, before he became what he was, and she's, of course, realizing this right now. She knows what she has to do, but whenever she sees killing her father in her brain, she instantly sees visions of him as picking her up and, running around the castle with her and smiling, giggling and laughing, and just the good moments. And I like this about SDA, Serana Dialogue add-on. It's a really essential mod. It's just it just thoroughly really does what Bethesda should have done with Serana, or any companion for that matter. It just really did a good job on expanding Serana and making her an actual, I don't know, I guess person in the Elder Scrolls. Really good, really top quality shit. Alright, so we're just gonna, sorry for the horse slip right there, we're just gonna skip past all this shit. We're gonna get to the fight, to do some murdering of these bastards, whatever. We had a bit of a fight with him. I had to use a voice mod for this because it sounded pretty cool. I just wish his mouth would actually move, but again, Bethesda didn't want to add that, even though they had one of them talking. Now, Dead, she basically, I forgot to mention this entire thing, but she's here to finish what she started long ago before she was Dragonborn. And now that she found the Dragon Scroll, the Elder Scroll, she can now return and do what she was meant to do. In the long run, her journey now is to basically kill dragons and gather power by words of power. And she did that. She gathered a word of power while she was on the Ice Lake, and she's killed, I think, in this journey 3 or 4 dragons. So she's doing exactly what she needs to do, but she's also doing what she needs to finish. Finish what she started so long ago. Killing Harkon, killing the smaller bad, the minor evil before she gets to the bigger evil. And again, this is something that she's wanted to do. Return and finish what she started. Now here she is. Boom. He's finally got to cop it, and the job's pretty much done. Serana, after this, pretty much, we burn off the dead. Right, we burn off the dead. We witness our dead now. Funny enough, the Stormcloak here, her granddaughters are actually died in the Civil War, so now she gets to be with them. It's just kind of, she died in a better cause than a wasted Civil War, killing brothers and sisters. She died saving Skyrim from an actual proper threat. Now, funny enough, this chick and her 2 daughters were actually the old Sigund, Brianna, and Tova. They were them in a different ESP, in my follower ESP, before I moved into a different ESP. So this was, the dead woman here was actually Tova, way back in the past. But again, NPCs die. We only just basically got Folvara on the roads on this chapter, or last chapter, and she's died. And I'm going to use bits and pieces of her armor to basically expand an existing character's armor that no longer needs to represent the Dawnguard, to kind of change her look to fight dragons, a bit more practical. Now this bit was added in late. I just finished this bit. It's a bit of a romance, not suitable for work scene. Look, I'll be honest, man. I do not like writing this shit. I'll probably have to use AI because I'm a dude. I can't write lesbian smart. Like, I don't know, man. I try to jump, like, I'm pretty good at jumping into the idea set of the character. But it's just sometimes it's a bit uncomfortable having to, like, try and write a sex arc, romance arc for a character that's a female, because I'm not a female. I'm also, you know, like, and again, that's going into too much information. You know, I've been there, I've done that, but I'm also not a woman that slept with a woman. So I don't know the whole entire dynamic of that situation, of course. So that was a bit of a weird thing to write. Let me know what you guys think, because fucking hell, that was meh. But I had to do this last because I realised I missed that dialogue, and so I went back and added it, and it's kind of because there's been quite a bit of romance in these last chapters, reigniting with Serana, and this is kind of when it was all done and dusted. Her father was finally stopped, and she now had her own life to plan, you know, a new beginning. She wanted to spend some time with Ragni. She wanted to marry her on her rules, and she wanted to share a physical moment with a woman she loved. Sex is sex, but I like to say this moment right here was making love between two characters. You know, a character that she's fallen in love with and wants to be with for the rest of her life. And we get to that. I don't know how YouTube's going to crack the shits one day when they go through these. I just try to keep all the genitals out of it, and I don't make it for the whole point of fucking sex scenes and that. I like to add it to the story, that sort of stuff. So in this one, she goes a bit slow during the sex scene. She gets a bit more. She goes easy on Ragni because she's never had a woman in the story before, and so I guess she just uses the fingers. I mean, it feels like cringe talking about this shit, but it's putters. You know, I wasn't gonna go full mouth deep, fucking hardcore lesbian sex straight away because that makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. So I thought it'd be pretty light, start off pretty light and easy because I guess Ragni isn't experienced in that sort of art, nor is she experienced in the male art, but she's only had 2 partners, and most of it's been Senturos. So I had to write this scene at the very end and do all this shit up, and man, if you felt uncomfortable, I felt uncomfortable. If you thought it was romantic, fucking good, I succeeded. But I feel unworthy inside. Anyway, if you guys have made it this far, cheers for watching. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because this also leaves me a way to communicate with you as a person, and also helps algorithm out so these stories can find more people like you that enjoy this sort of storytelling content, all sort of stuff. By the end of the day, I hope to inspire people to build characters, better world building, and maybe even play multiple character play stories like mine with a Skyrim, you know, with 8 to 9 different playable characters that make the story of Skyrim so much more intense and immersive. Anyway, I'm out of here. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Look after yourselves.